So for our next talk, we have the topic Cinderella, an e-commerce story. I remember Matthew from our previous Meet Magento event. He had given us a very enthusiastic talk, and I expect nothing less of him this time around. And he's the head of growth for SEA dotdigital. And when I look at his profile, I can relate with him quite well because he has passion in technology, implementation, and digital marketing, but he has held various roles in dotdigital. Over 10 years, he has worked as an account manager, email strategist, partner manager, and digital marketing evangelist for dotdigital. So Matt has played a key role in partnerships and growth within the e-commerce community and enjoys sharing initiatives that drives results for merchants. So I welcome Matthew.
Thank you very much. Woohoo! Cool. First things first, I'll be holding our mascot. This is not my comfort teddy bear. This is just our mascot. So if you see me holding it around, I actually have a big enough voice to cover this room.
I think the guys in the
Cool, no problem. Can everyone hear me? Fantastic. Thank you, everyone. I kind of have to resonate what everyone's been saying. This has been a unique and fantastic experience for me, just being able to sit and have a coffee, shake people's hands, and a nice hug from Annie Mac earlier. We've kind of been changing and evolving, and I want to focus on that and the evolution that we're going through in my presentation. First things first, I'm actually part of the membership committee for the Magento Association. And if you're not part of it, do recommend and encourage everyone to sign up to the association. It's free of charge and also gives you the ability to connect with like-minded individuals all across the world, including, obviously, around Southeast Asia as well. Apologies, I'm a smoker, which probably shouldn't have done just before my talk. I wanted to kind of start things off, and no matter which version of Cinderella that you like, the story is still the same. Ultimately, there's an individual who's pushed down by her two ugly sisters, spends all of her time doing the chores, the things that they don't want to do, and gets very little recognition for the effort, time, and essentially the things that she does. And then, on one fateful night, she is transformed. Her fairy godmother gives her an opportunity to shine. And in doing so, she goes to the ball, meets the prince. He falls madly in love. She's fresh, she's exciting, she's new. She's exactly what he's been looking for. She changes the hearts and minds of all the patrons, everyone within the ball. And then that fateful night ends. The prince, like everyone else, is so besotted with Cinderella. They've had that opportunity. They've experienced what it could be, and therefore want nothing else. And this has been the case, if I look at the last 2 years. I do ask the question, though, could this have been predicted? How evolved we've become, how we've changed, that 10 years in the future, as a customer, we've wanted more, we've expected more, we've wanted better from our brands and merchants in the way in which they communicate with us. Have we as merchants, have we as retailers, have we as suppliers not been listening to the needs, the wants and desires of merchants, of customers all over the world? And so I actually started my career as in a bed retailer. And within that retailer, I was actually in charge of the e-commerce division. Famously, the commercial director said to me that e-commerce will never overtake one of my stores. Well, in 3 years, I proved him wrong. But within that 3 years, I was able to learn all about the different types of mattresses. And for anyone that's ever gone to buy a mattress before, hyper latex, memory foam, latex foam, spring, pocket sprung, it's very complicated. There's lots of different terminology. And with that, we start our research online, we educate ourselves, and then go shopping. We also have different bodies, profiles, and needs and requirements that we have when we are searching for these products. And so I went with my girlfriend, who's a 50-kilogram yoga teacher. I'm horrifically overweight, and so comparatively, we have different needs and requirements for something that we spend a third of our life in. And so we went shopping, went to 5 different stores, experienced retail at its finest. Salespeople hovering around us, telling me all this jargon that I already knew. Denise didn't, but it gave us an opportunity to try, to test, Me, I did it this way because I'm really a child at heart. Bouncing, trying, experiencing. And it's important that we touch and feel products. It's important that we have that experience. One thing that did happen, though, is after we went to each of these 5 stores, not one of them contacted us afterwards. They all got my business card, name card, sorry. They all got my contact details, and I asked them to email me the quote, right? This was not a small purchase. Of the 5 businesses, not one contacted us. And such was the case. Retail was booming. We had a plethora of customers and people always shopping. We didn't have to worry about that individual sale. But then, overnight, some might say, it was certainly within a few weeks, we saw an 80 to 90% decline in retail sales all across the world. Just even some places, if we look at the Philippines, Malaysia, retail is still certainly not having that drive, still not picking back up. But I ask, could we have anticipated a change in the way in which our customers expect us as merchants to act? Could we have predicted that customers wanted a better experience? Anyone know who these 2 people are? No? Oh, this one? Cool. This is Mark Randolph and Reed Hastings. Yeah, they set up a little-known business called Netflix. And in 2000, they went to Blockbuster to sell for 50 million. No matter what you experiment with, no matter what you try, you cannot fail as much as the person that laughed those 2 people out of the room, that digital would not transform the way in which we experience, we evolve. Nicholas mentioned it earlier, Netflix has become part and parcel of our family time. It's become part and parcel of the way we relax. And so experimentation is important. But equally, the way in which now we consume the products that we want to purchase has significantly changed. Previously, it was quite easy. You would just go, as a brand or a merchant, you would put your products within the latest hot film, Back to the Future, being here. It literally took Nike to put Michael J. Fox on a hoverboard with self-lacing shoes to inspire kids of my generation and many others to buy self-lacing shoes, and I still want my hoverboard. Brand positioning, being able to put your products in the forefront of your customers was simple. It's become more challenging, but equally more rewarding. Anybody watch The Queen's Gambit? Yeah, some nods, fantastic. There's a little-known chessboard maker just outside of Barcelona. They sell around 20,000 a year, 20,000 bespoke chessboards. In the week preceding the launch of The Queen's Gambit, they had 40,000 orders. The way in which we're actually getting the ideas of what we want, the ideas, the dreams of the products that we want is completely changing. And it's been changing for a while. We're no longer a single screen. We're full of different ways in which, and new ways in which we can consume video, imagery, beyond just a simple tube box. And that's constantly changing and evolving. I feel quite old not having social media. I do feel it gives me a bit more time, and I still don't understand TikTok. But it is there as a channel, as a communication tool in which we speak to like-minded people, share our thoughts and desires. That's also evolved. Previously, we would look at experts, media, as ways in which we get that authoritative answer, where we should get the information that helps us make the decisions that we make. We've slightly changed towards, I love the fat Karen from Facebook, but different ways in which we've influenced in the decisions that we make about the products that we purchase. We've become better, ultimately. Nicholas mentioned it earlier, but I've got 1,000, 10,000 stores in my hand right now. I'm able at any time of day to access, to communicate, to speak to merchants, to actually research about products. So if I do want to learn what the difference between pocket sprung and a sprung mattress is, I don't need a salesperson in the store to do that. The evolution of what that person can give me needs to move beyond just a simple, hey, let me tell you the difference between these products. You need to show me that value. And so as we come to, in many different places, once we come to the end of kind of the run that we've had over the last 2 years, as things start to open up again, we start to look at what the challenges we face and how can we look to 2022. And it's something Nicholas focused on earlier, but we joined with the team at Adobe for a virtual event in the Philippines. We had conglomerates, large retail operation merchants get together on a virtual call to understand the challenges that they were facing. A lot of them made the same decisions. It was quite common. the same problems. They wanted to understand what the blueprint for success was. They wanted to recreate that physical experience online, and all of them jumped to marketplaces. Marketplaces is a beautiful way for an emerging brand to capture a large group of audiences. It's also a great place for large organizations to differentiate their product offering and sell something different. It has a place. But equally, as we see it, it's not giving us access to our customers. We're giving that away. We're giving away the ability to communicate with our customers. We're also giving away that last mile. And that last mile, how the product gets delivered, is super important. We've now got a generation, as was mentioned earlier as well, the digital adoption is way up over 80%. And that's because we've now have auntie and uncles that can shop at 2 o'clock in the morning and still get the products delivered the next day. They don't have to go down to the grocery store. And now they've got this digital liberation. Will they actually ever go back to just nipping down to the shops? Will that experience still be the same now that they've got that experience that they want? And that experience comes from, like I say, you're on a Zoom call and someone turns up at the door. Hands up if that's happened to someone this week. Thank you, Aloysius. Aloysius is my colleague, and yes, it happens very frequently. But that experience that we get is incredible. We know when it's going to arrive. We get text messages an hour before. We can plan our day previously. Your delivery will be made between 9 and 6. Thanks. Now, if I'm at work, that makes it completely impossible for me to wait for that delivery. Nowadays, we've got hour-long windows. We know the product's just around the corner. That last mile, when we can control it, is fantastic. And that's where we can actually bridge, to Nicholas's comment earlier, between the offline and online. Some people want a product today. My power cable goes. I need to nip down to Challenger and get a new one. Okay? That aspect of things, that immediacy, urgency, will never change. But what can change is how I experience products, how I go through it, and how can I create that physical interaction through digital channels. And it's quite easy when you look at the overall kind of marketing experience. If we map out our customer journey, we map out the customer funnel, we can see all the different touch points that these new channels, emerging channels, will play into our customer journey. As we look at the way in which we capture customers but also communicate with them afterwards, we want to start the process of really, truly understanding what value each of these elements brings. Knee-jerking to say we must be on TikTok. Do you as a brand need to be there? Does it add value to your customer experience? Or is it just a new hype thing that we want to get involved in? So as we look at our infrastructure, our technology, and the things that we have at our powerhouse, we need to look at our customer journey as an opportunity to speak on a human level. Personalization, simple personalization, has been replaced with individualization. I want to be seen as an individual. I want to be talked to as an individual, and I want the communications I get to replicate that. And so we've been helping merchants do this for the last 21 years, personalizing that end-to-end experience so that I feel like an individual. It doesn't matter what channel you want to communicate with them on. Customers want to as merchants, we want to understand the behaviors, the needs, the wants, the desires of all of our customers so that we can talk to them just as if they were to walk into a store. We've been using data to help our merchants drive better decisions. So if they do want to utilize a particular channel of communication, we have the data on those languages, on those countries that will help them make those decisions and be able to give them the footprint for success. The revenue that we talk about is specifically the clients that we integrate with, the clients that use our platform for success, the clients that use what I've been speaking about, which is the end-to-end customization of a customer journey to better them as a brand through their digital communications. Some fantastic names, but I wanted to kind of focus on some of the merchants that have really taken it to the next level. For anyone that hasn't come across Canmo, Craig is actually speaking right now on the parallel track to this. They're able to utilize dashboards to understand what their customers want. And for them, it's super important. As a multi-brand distributor, they have physical stores, they have online operations. Being able to connect those customers together so I can understand the difference between a Kate Spade, Coach, Mothercare customer, as I could be a customer across all of those. How can I understand the life cycle my customers are going through? If I'm buying from Mothercare, is it a present? Is it something for myself? And therefore, how can I use that information to drive, we'll obviously talk about lifetime value, but a personalized experience just as if that person was to walk into store. A lot of what Craig's team focus on is how can they better that customer journey? How can they understand the needs and requirements of their customers now so that they can predict the next active phase or kind of what they were looking to purchase next, but also deliver an experience that resonates with them as a group and organization that's very well respected across Indonesia. Yonit from Trapo loves automation. They've expanded from Malaysia into the Philippines, into Singapore, and then into Thailand. As an organization, they want to focus on that customer experience you get from buying in that retail store. They sell car mats, hygienic car mats as well. You might have come across them. It's very fantastic to just get into a car quickly, spray them off, it makes it nice and easy to clean, especially when you've got a mucky dog like I do. But for them, they want to deliver that end-to-end customer experience so that their customers feel like they're going into speaking to an individual person. Now, to scale and operate across multiple countries, you need the ability to localize, whether it's Malaysian ringgit, Singapore dollar, or even a Thai baht. Having the information and communicating, having the information to make business decisions is important, but also knowing that each of these markets has different channels to communicate on. Certain markets, things like email, SMS don't work. Indonesia, SMS does work. You've also got Line, Kakao, WhatsApp. Each of these provide opportunity to communicate with your customers, and automating the journeys allows you then to experiment and try new things. By doing this experimentation, not being afraid to do it, not being that executive that turned Netflix away, you can actually experiment and try new things without fear. Digital gives us the opportunity to just test on a small group of people. Retail, we would have a harder challenge. We can actually just find, I want 10% of my traffic to go to this new web page and just completely change it. Experimentation leads to success. And finally, Siddhant from Ugao loves plants. He's actually got a degree in agriculture. And his product is all around recurring. Recurring payments, recurring plants that you get delivered every month. And he wants to focus on specifically how he can help people get green thumbs. I kill every plant I get. Don't know what I keep doing, overwatering, underwatering, I don't understand. And so he uses automation to drive different information at different life cycles within that plant. So if it comes as a seedling, what do you need to do week 1, week 2, week 3? And so we can start the process of helping people, not hindering their journey, with something as simple as keeping a plant alive. And automation can do this for many different ways, and it can be utilized in some cool examples. In this one, it's there to help people engage. It's help people become part of that journey with Ugao. And so the premise of what when I was writing the presentation for today, was mainly around how is it that we're going to evolve? And I kept seeing things like retail is dying, retail 5.0, what's 2022 going to look like? And it was all negative. It was all focused on what's been and gone. Where I saw the opportunity was, as we look to evolve, and as we look to kind of understand better about our customers, we've now got an opportunity. Our customers have been given that experience. They've gone to the marketplaces. You have going more on e-commerce. We know we can buy everything we want online. And within that, we've got an opportunity now to treat our customers in that one-to-one basis. We can use digital technology to have those human conversations at scale. We can do it in a way that provides lots of value to that customer. It is a value exchange between the two. But the element that I really focused on was kind of like the prince and Cinderella. Ultimately, your customer is the prince. They've met Cinderella, they've gone to the ball, they've experienced what it's like now to buy everything online, from toothpaste to groceries to all of your clothes. They're going through this digital revolution, and within that, we have an opportunity to capture, to talk to them, and have human conversations. I hope you enjoyed it. Thank you very much for listening, and enjoy the rest of your day.